Everyone knows that you need to get good book reviews in order to really start to bring social proof to the table, get it to where people are more intrigued in purchasing your book. Now, naturally, it's not an easy thing to do, to get book reviews. And a lot of people kind of get stuck on one element or another. And inevitably, some people come to me and they go, hey, what about this book review site? Is this going to be something that's safe for me to do, or is it not safe for me to do? Well, I'm going to share the problem with book review sites for authors in today's podcast, so make sure that you stay tuned. What's happening? It's Dale here, and I'm just tickled to death you took a little bit of time out your day to spend a little bit of time with me to talk about my favorite thing in self-publishing. And today's podcast is exclusively sponsored by the fine folks over at winningwriters.com. Winning Writers is doing their 7th annual North Street Book Prize, and you can enter for a chance to win up to $5,000 in cash and prizes. Not to mention, there's 6 categories, and the first place spot gets $1,000 in other prizes as well. Yeah, you get prizes, and then you get prizes on your prizes. All I have to say, this is good for all self-published authors, regardless of the release date. So if you released it 5 years ago, you're good. If you released it 5 minutes ago, you're excellent. That's just fine. As long as it's a self-published book, you're good. And this is actually recommended by the Alliance of Independent Authors. Yeah. Additionally, Winning Writers has an excellent rating as an ally partner. So they've been endorsed 2 times over, not only for the North Street Book Prize, but also for Winning Writers. So you know you're in good hands. What if it's not a good fit? What if you pay the entry fee and you're like, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit. Well, they've got a new feature in which they allow the North Street Book Prize judges to recategorize a book if for some reason they said, that category doesn't work for this. In the event that they find that your book is not suitable in any of the categories, they will most likely contact you and refund your money. But I think that once you go over, visit winningwriters.com/Dale21, and you're going to get more information on over there. Please let me know if you end up enrolling your book in that, and I'm excited for you. Big thank you again to winningwriters.com. Again, visit winningwriters.com/Dale21 to get more details about the North Street Book Prize. Let's clarify right out the gate, book review sites. There's actually 2 types of book review sites. Let's start it out with number 1. It's where you pay for reviewers. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, ooh, I don't know if this is good. And you're probably right to think that. And we're going to kind of go on a granular level here in just a moment when it comes for paying for reviewers. Because there's some that's going to be pretty good. There's others, it's questionable. And then the second way is pay for access to get readers and reviewers. So this means that you're not paying the service for the reviews per se, but just getting the access to the reviewers. This is probably the better option in my opinion, and I will tell you why. So what's the big issue when it comes to the book reviews? Amazon's stance is very solid. It's cemented in that they do not want to have biased reviews, meaning they don't want to have your mom reviewing your book. They don't want to have people that know each other providing reviews on the platform, because obviously if you know somebody, you're going to be a little biased. You're probably going to give them a 4 or 5-star review, even though their magnum opus is probably a 1-star at best. Amazon wants those honest reviews. So having that biased nature to a review automatically just throws it off here. So why are author review swaps so terrible? I've said this in the past. Author review swaps can be okay, but it got ruined by a lot of bad people over the years because they just go hire a virtual assistant. That virtual assistant reach out to other virtual assistants, and then they just leave a bunch of fake reviews. And here you are left with all these 4 and 5-star reviews that don't read worth a darn, give zero context to the actual reason why they've given a 4 or 5-star. Oh, this was a great book. I like this book. You should buy this book too. That's a trash review. That is a trash review. You don't want that. And the thing is, let's just say you're an author, you met another author, you want to do a review swap. The problem herein lies is, even though you are being honest, there's no way to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's not going to be biased. Amazon's not going to be like, yeah, I really don't know Joe Schmo, but he read my book and I read his book and we're going to give each other reviews. Like, it just doesn't work for them on the Amazon platform. What about when an author leaves a review for your book? That's a bit more organic. Then you're going to be a little safe. I think the problem lies in you doing a review and then this other person doing a review at the very same time. Why are paid reviews no good? Okay. They're no good because, quite simply, anytime you pay somebody, they've got a little skin in the game. Like they've like, oh, well, I've got to make this person happy. Otherwise, they're not going to come back and pay for my services again. So again, you're getting to a biased review, but there is an exception for paid reviews. Now, obviously, editorial reviews, we're going to put a pin in that. I've had a broadcast about that in the past. You can always just go back into my back catalog to learn all about editorial reviews. But I'm talking about paid reviews. There are exceptions to this rule. Before I get to that, I think we need to go into a granular level of things. We need to pay attention to these sites. How are they getting the reviews? That's what you need to ask first. How are they getting reviews? So the first case of paying for reviewers, you need to take a look at the site and ask, where are their readers coming from? Where are they getting them? I mean, unless they're BookBub, who has millions of email subscribers that they can break down into specific categories and niches, there's going to be other platforms, though. How are they getting it? I mean, because most instances, you're going to end up landing on that website as an author. There's usually not an entry point for readers. So where is that entry point for readers? Because that's what you need to be most concerned about when you're paying for reviews through a site that says, hey, we'll get you 10 reviews for $50, guaranteed, which anytime they say guaranteed, take a step back and figure out, okay, why are they so dead set on saying this is guaranteed when someone may or may not read your book or leave the review that's going to be honest? Because quite frankly, I've shared in the past, even when you build an ARC team out, that typically a good conversion rate of readers to reviewers is about 33%. 1 in 3 people will leave a review for your book. So with that said, if a site's saying, hey, we're going to get you 10 reviews, if you pay $50, it's guaranteed. Okay, so this means that maybe they reached out to 30 different readers and they'll get those 10 reviewers. So how did they get those readers? That's why you got to be so clear on that. How are they gathering them? What's the entry point? And how are they separating them out? Because not all readers are created the same. Because let's say I'm putting out my fitness title, but the readers are most interested in things like Whereberry Shapeshifter Romance. They're not going to dig my fitness book, or do they? So knowing these sites, how are they getting the readers and how are they separating out those readers so the readers are actually getting content that they actually are genuinely wanting to read? And the guarantees. If you see it says guarantee, ask more questions. Why do you guarantee that? Has there ever been an instance in which you had to give someone their money back? How many times has it happened? And how long has your business been around and offering something like this? I mean, they're not bad questions. I'm not trying to tell you to be confrontational with every single company and service, but you need to, of course, be very aware of what you're investing in, because when you pay for a review, there's already that implicit understanding that someone is going to possibly be biased. But for sites that do it on your behalf and get the reviewers, maybe, just maybe there's some level of unbiasedness. That's not even a word, but we're going with it today. So there's the second option. Pay for access to reviewers. I told you I was going to take a deeper dive into something like this. So there are quite a few of them. And even inside my book, Amazon Reviews for Books, I even mentioned briefly, and I just mentioned, it wasn't necessarily an endorsement, Puppy.co. Now, Puppy.co essentially acts as an intermediary. Like, they are the people that you pay them every month to put your book onto their platform, and other people will read that book and leave a review. Here's the catch. You can't just simply passively put something on their platform and expect to get reviews. This is where it kind of gets a little gray. And I'll tell you my opinion on just a moment here. You need to actually put in the work. So for something like Puppy.co, you've got to pay for it in advance. Then in order to get points to redeem on getting more reviews, you have to read other books. Now you're probably saying, oh, Dale, come on now, dude. You just said review swaps are no good. If another author's reading my book and I'm reading their book, there's going to be a bit of an issue. And I agree. There is a huge issue because it opens you up to a possibility that Amazon might see something and go, there's some shenanigans going on here. We better go ahead and cut these two people down because clearly there's a level of bias. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and talk about someone that I know. And it was the founder of a company called getbooksreviewed.com. I've talked about them in previous podcasts, but I want to talk a little bit more about this new platform. It functions like Puppy, but the nice thing that I've seen that is available now through getbooksreviewed.com is that they will only match up authors to books as long as they have not been reviewed by that other author. So meaning that it keeps things clean. It gets it to where, let's say I leave a review on your Werebear book. You will not get any of my fitness books put in front of you to leave reviews on because clearly, again, they don't want to have that cross contamination, if you will. They don't want to get it to where, and I like that they've done that. Now, does Puppy do that? I have no idea. Haven't done the research. But I do know from the fine folks over at getbooksreviewed.com, they worked on that feature. It's brand spanking new. Big congrats to you guys on that. So this helps avoid any issues that you would normally have through author review swaps. So that right there, you can kind of just breathe a sigh of relief in knowing that's the right direction. Always ask questions, folks. Always ask questions. Even after you've heard my podcasts, and you go and you find a website, ask. Don't just put your money down. I want you to get it to where you can sleep at night knowing that you're investing in something that's going to give back. Let me share a little bit of a personal story here as we start to put a pin into this podcast, or actually put a fork into it. I had a gentleman reach out to me, and a very nice guy, really cool dude. We hit it off really well on LinkedIn. He had a review service and he had a couple other things part of his service. But the thing that kind of made me really leery. So I had this personal conversation with him. And he said, well, we can get you X amount of reviews for X amount of dollars. And it was actually a pretty reasonable rate. But this is the problem that came about was I said to him, well, how are you getting your readers? I was given a vague understanding of, well, we collect our readers through landing pages relevant to the specific niche. Okay, that's brilliant. Can I take a look at those? Nothing. I even asked twice for this. I was like, hey, no problem. I'll go ahead and get that on over to you. Seems a little fishy. Where are you getting your readers? That's a very honest thing I'm asking of you. And I don't think it's unreasonable to say, where are you getting your readers? Because my thought is, I would like to sign up for whatever that is because I would like to see who am I being served to and how I'm being served to them. So I couldn't be provided that. The next thing is it was providing a guarantee. So I said to him, hey, what happens when you don't make the guarantee? Well, technically, he said, we're supposed to give a refund, but it's never happened. I said, it's never happened. No, it's never happened. You've had a lot of clients. Absolutely. You've had a lot of clients. Okay. So what happens when you're short reviews? What do you do? To which he explained that, well, I've got some members on my staff that will just pick up the slack. Okay, so now we're talking about getting fake reviews again. because I don't want to pay a person to leave a review on my book. But if you're getting me legitimate readers that are going to leave an honest review, and I'm not paying those readers, that's great. But when you're taking your staff, okay, the people that I'm employing by giving you money, they're going to leave a biased review. And that part right there just doesn't quite set well with me. So that's why I thought I would just share that personal anecdote so you can kind of think about that when you look at various sites. You can ask them questions. Big special thanks out to winningwriters.com and the exclusive sponsorship. You guys are the best. Please go take a look over at North Street Book Prize, the 7th annual North Street Book Prize over at winningwriters.com/Dale21. Again, that's winningwriters.com/Dale21. I got the link inside the show notes. Final tip. If you've learned anything from today's podcast, from the last 16 minutes, I hope that you're able to at least get this out of it. Do your due diligence. You can't just wander blindly into things, and especially if it is involving, first of all, your money, and it involves your business, you got to be very thoroughly researched. And here's the cool thing is when you find a company that you can know, like, and trust, you can just keep going back to the well, hopefully, and continue to utilize them. But it's always going to require some upfront work and doing your research. Look for clues. Think about some of the things I mentioned where some people say guarantees. Okay, what happens when you don't reach that? Has that happened before? And what did you do when you weren't able to fulfill that order? Did you just take part of their money and hand it back? Because I know there's some sites that will do that. Be like, okay, for X amount of reviews, since we didn't get you that many, we will refund you 20% of that, whatever it could be. Ask around. Referrals are great. I've already mentioned a site here. That's one to take a look at. Tread carefully. Just remember, it's involving your finances and your business. Last but not least, one of the greatest ways to take a look, make sure it's good to go, visit the Alliance of Independent Authors Watchdog page. You can go over to their Watchdog page at dalelinks.com/watchdog to find out if it's going to be a good fit for you. And by the way, we've done an even deeper dive when it comes to reviews for your book. If you go take a look at Amazon reviews for books over at dalelinks.com/reviewsbook. And speaking of reviews, if you already read it, do me a favor, leave an honest review over on Amazon and Goodreads. It'd mean the world to me. Thank you so much. Hey, subscribe or follow me on your preferred podcasting platform and leave a review. And if you're watching it on the YouTube podcast channel, I see you there. Please leave a comment. I definitely would love to hear from each and every single one of you. Next week, we're going to keep going on into the book reviews area because we're going to talk about when you get book reviews, do this. Ooh, there's something that you need to do. And you're going to find out more about that in next week's podcast. Till later, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale, and I will chat with you next week.